Hey guys, this is Ed and Wyatt from Mission Ed Possible, and today we're going to be doing RetroGrade reviews of all of the 2600 games from Atari from 1989 to 1990.
Never gets to be less of a mouthful.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It just keeps getting longer.
Yeah,
and longer.
a little bit.
So so why don't you start us off here?
Sure. I can always hear your gears turning as you're like, there's a lot of words. I
gotta keep saying stuff. And I don't want to ever do like and all.
Because it's such a breath to say it all. I get you. So, but as far as our start off today, we've got Klax, the tile stacking puzzle game.
Yep.
I guess would be how you would describe it.
It's a falling blocks game. It is an arcade port that was apparently ported to everything under the sun.
Yeah, gosh.
Yeah.
You pull up that list.
Yeah,
and
it's everything at the time. So
if we showed you the list, it would take up the screen right here.
Yeah.
So
anyway.
It's an interesting game. Yeah. I've not played a falling brick game like that before, I don't think.
Right.
The conveyor belt thing, throwing back the bricks and stuff.
Which we only found that out, somebody in the stream
partway through,
Yeah, and it was like, oh, wow, that totally changes the game.
Changes everything, yeah.
Yes, so...
As a game, no. But that is the sort of thing where this version of Klax makes me want to play other versions of Klax.
Yeah, definitely need to check out the arcade version.
Yeah.
I think... the one thing that I will say, though, is that the graphics on this aren't critical.
No.
The main thing there is that the colors are different for the bricks and all that. So, mechanically, it should be very similar.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it won't have as much polish because, one of the things was the bricks, they didn't really show it tumbling. They kind of just went smaller and bigger.
And stretch,
but it did the
I'm going to give it a B, though, because it makes me want to play those other versions because I want to see what else you can do with this.
Sure.
But I had fun with that. That's a game I could revisit. It's simple, but I think all falling brick games are fun too. Yeah. I've never had a bad time with one, I don't think.
Okay. I am probably gonna put it in the B range as well. I definitely had fun with it, and I do have at one point I used to really be into these kind of games. I actually built one of my own and all that.
Sure, yeah.
And it's fun. These days, I'm not as into them, but at one point, I was heavily into them. So I definitely see the attraction there, and it is one I would check out again. Probably would check out the arcade version. Though.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is a lot of these later ports are getting close enough in the Atari 2600. Are getting close enough that it's like, this is super fun, but it really makes me want to play the arcade version.
It's one of those things that when we started in '77, the arcade games were really, they were worse than the 2600, or very, very comparable.
Yeah.
And then it's just this ramp hopping, and the 2600, it tried to keep up, but it really couldn't. It was really underpowered, and everything else just went above it. And by this time, the NES was in full swing.
Yeah, you can build machines better and better, but the 2600 is still the 2600.
Yeah, exactly. So it was really trying to play catch up at this point. So it was really, really hard.
You can only squeeze so much blood out of that stone.
Yeah, exactly.
What is this one? The
Fatal Run.
Fatal Run. That's
Fatal
right.
Run, yeah.
I was trying to read it from a distance here.
Yeah.
A Fatal Run had pretty cool graphics.
Yeah.
This was the car one where where it had a scrolling ticker tape text that went really slowly.
Yes.
But it told you you were saving people by delivering medicine and then launching a rocket to save the world. Not real clear where the rocket was going to go. At the illness, I guess.
I guess we're gonna launch a rocket at it. There you go.
But it was a fun game though, or at least for those kinds of scrolling. We played I can't actually remember the name other than Quaalude Simulator now.
That was Night Driver.
Night Driver. We played games like Night Driver.
Yeah.
Several of these have been on the 2600.
Yeah.
Even Pole Position was pretty similar to this. This one I think has a leg up on those other ones.
Sure.
It was pretty cool. I really liked seeing your speedometer, all the different bars, the many colors for your different stats and armor and fuel and all that kind of stuff. The other cars looked really good, and I really liked that each level had a different kind of back area between the desert and the trees and stuff. So I'm gonna give that one a high B.
For me, I'm gonna probably go with a low B, but not much else to add other than it was the graphics looked better. One of the things that did annoy me though is when you go to pass a car, and then apparently the other cars speed up, so you can't pass them, or it's really hard to pass them.
As soon as you get to them,
you do this, and then it just like they stop. And it's like, wait, no, just like let me pass you, and we're on a corner.
Yeah, the programming was such that as soon as you get to a car, they have to interact, like try and interact with you to an extent before you can go past.
Right.
But it meant that, slow down, speed up, no matter what you did, they just stayed parallel with you for a second.
Irritating.
It was a little annoying. I didn't much care for that either. Ikari Warriors is our next one. That one, kind of hard to. Man. I kind of want to give it a low B or a high C. I'm going to leave it there for right now, just so I have some spacing out going on here.
You never change them after the fact, or rarely.
Very rarely, yeah.
Usually you go with your first take.
I think about it.
Yeah, you think about it.
Sometimes I change, but much like in a test where you go through, they tell you like,
always go
check,
with your first inclination.
Yeah, you can double check to make sure you didn't misread the question, but very rarely do you actually change it.
Exactly.
But I'm gonna give it a C because I thought the graphics were pretty cool. The fact that it had music was neat, but we've seen several that have done that so far now.
The music was almost annoying.
It was a little annoying. It wasn't very catchy.
Yeah.
And the fact that you would run into a building and die.
Yes.
You would spawn in and instantly die because things are already shooting at you by the time you load in.
Yeah.
You gotta find fuel for the tank.
Right.
But there's no fuel for the tank.
Yeah, I never saw fuel.
And, just between that and it's like... It just had a lot of strange decisions that made it feel like it really wasn't living up to the potential it was setting.
Right.
A lot of the graphics were pretty cool. I can really appreciate that. That addition to the system is pretty good. Everybody's kind of hunched over and shuffling, but even then, it looks good.
Yeah.
I caught a glimpse of myself doing that.
The deal is that I feel like graphically they did a pretty good job. I felt like the gameplay was just not there.
Didn't match it.
I didn't. Yeah, it just felt. I don't know. It just felt a little off. I'm not exactly sure. I'm gonna call it a C as well. That it was. Yeah, it was almost like again the graphics kind of overplay. I mean, compared to like other versions of the game, it is an arcade port. I feel like they probably couldn't have gotten better on the 2600 on graphics.
No,
but it's still, and in some cases, I kind of feel like perhaps this was not the best thing to try to port, and it's kind of the.
We're getting to that point where it's just. What was the point of putting it on here?
Yeah.
In later generations, I would call that the, why did we make this on the Game Boy?
Yeah, exactly. and usually having to change it completely.
Totally different game
to
almost.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Ikari Warriors is probably starting the trend of, because I bet if we played any other version, it'd be like, yeah, I could see how these things are technically similar.
I believe in the other versions, I could be wrong, is that you can actually do 2-player simultaneous.
I would believe that. Yeah.
Much better. So, yeah.
MotoRodeo. First time I'd ever even heard of this one.
Yeah.
Quite the little romp, though.
Yeah, it's a cool.
I'm gonna give this one an A. That was a fun multiplayer game. That was in those realm of the race games that we've played so far that just makes me want to do more with it.
Right.
Because you have fun every race.
Yeah.
And the options between, having a truck or a blazer and
those are kind of interesting, which I don't think they actually make any difference, but it's cool.
But it's fun.
Yeah, it's cool.
It makes you feel like there is, even if there's not.
Right. It was it was interesting, especially since it's a race game that is, it's a vertical, like a split horizontally or whatever, or split vertically. And so it was kind of interesting in that normally a lot of times these race games, like either they're top down, they're different ones. It's a different way of doing it. It kind of reminded me, I think I mentioned in the stream, of kind of like Excite Bike, in that you're jumping and you have to
and you're in your section.
You got to adjust how you're going to land. You want to land on the back tires. You don't want to land on the front. You want to adjust it. And once we found that there was a nitro, that was a whole other thing. I feel like some of these games...
That was a game changer.
We play, and we play for a while, then we realize something, and like, oh, that's what you're supposed to be doing, and then it changes it.
And that's one of those. Yeah. And it changed it from a pretty solid game to a really fun game with the nitro.
I'm going to have to agree with you. I definitely see it as it's good. It's not amazing, but it is pretty damn good, I think.
Yeah. Also reminds me a little bit of that horse racing game.
Steeplechase.
Steeplechase.
Yeah, because it is the same thing, and you're on your own track.
That's kind of what it made me think of as well. Off the Wall is the best breakout to not be breakout, I will say.
Or Super Breakout.
Yes. I find it difficult to give it better than a B, though, because it's still just breakout.
Well, okay.
It did have power-ups.
That being said, it's actually, I would say it's more Arkanoid than Breakout. Because,
I suppose so.
Because with power-ups and all that, although they were really hard to catch and all that.
They were hard to catch, and it wasn't always obvious what they were.
Yeah.
So in that way, I would say it's like, it's still these games is the big thing.
I mean, Arkanoid is a Breakout game.
Yeah,
so,
and the tougher thing about this one is, like, it felt like, okay, you're trying to break through to kill this thing that's wiggly waggling over the top of the screen.
Yeah, but it didn't actually.
But then you would kill it, and then it would just come back, and you still just have to clear the screen. So that guy is more just added flair, which is like, okay,
right,
strange.
Just get some points.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I did like the fact that, like it did have like a lot of the breakthrough kind of stuff going on.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was certain power-ups that we would get and they would do that. It wasn't obvious like what the power-ups did.
Not right away, no. Yeah. It was clear when you got the bomb that it would blow up a few around it. It would make a different noise, which I like that cue.
Right. I like the guy. I like the animation with the guy.
Yeah, the fact that he was running around and the fact that he wouldn't, that he would stay where you leave him.
Yeah.
Also meant that it didn't feel quite so much like you had to run everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It felt a little more in control than the previous Breakout style games.
I'm gonna have to give this a B+ for me. I thought it was fun, and I would definitely check it out again. It would be interesting to kind of see what all the power-ups are and
figure them out a little more.
Yeah,
maybe see a second level.
I thought, I know, we didn't complete a level
because that's the thing that's tough about it is just there were so many.
The bricks are tiny.
They're very small particles, so it takes a really long time to get them all.
Yeah.
Especially if you've got like one floating off in a section.
Yep.
It can be very difficult. And that's why I can't rate it much higher myself, but. Fun game, I think. It has a lot going for it, though. Radar Lock, I wanted to give an A as we were playing it, but the more we played it, the more it just sank into being a B, which is not a bad thing, but it's like, it had that cool takeoff from like Solaris, same kind of, searching around and controls. You're fighting these guys, the combat's very satisfying, and then it's, all right, now fly around and find a guy and see if you can have him.
Or the biggest problem I think with it was the fact that the game loop that they established was fine. The problem with me was that the guys would hide or something.
Yeah,
you have a limited amount of fuel, and so we were flying around aimlessly looking for guys, and it's like you can still shoot, so there's still guys around. And so that part, I feel like almost to where it'd be almost a bug, but it broke the game loop to
made
where
it feel flat.
Yeah, and you would end up crashing because you'd run out of fuel.
And then even if you did kill them, if you were blinking in fuel, it's really hard to get to that guy and line it up in the amount of fuel you have left.
Yeah, if they would have done, instead of the way they did the mid-air refueling, if they would have had another like runway, like an aircraft carrier or something to land on,
That could have been fun.
That would have been
adding another level to the game.
That would have been, and instead of like the mid-air, I think they were just trying to do something a little different with it. But if you're gonna be able to land and then you take off for another mission, that would have been great.
But he can also only connect to certain spots of you.
Yeah, so that was a little awkward. I'm gonna have to give it a C, probably higher than Ikari Warriors, just because I felt like it had some stuff going on, but not enough. It didn't have the missing.
Depth of Solaris.
It definitely has like the cool afterburner kind of like swivel and shooting. That part, the dogfighting stuff was cool. I just think that everything else was eh.
You know what? That actually is the sort of thing. Yeah. You copied me this whole time. So
I don't copy.
I can do it. No.
Our B's are separate, different. So don't even.
B's are slightly different. Yes. But no, you're right. It's the sort of thing where it just doesn't really fulfill on what it seems like it will. And then, in that next...
Was there ever any point of, like, locking in radar, though?
No.
I don't think that...
You don't really lock on to anything.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really hard to log on to anything. Yeah. And then, of course, the thing that actually made me move it was I remembered in that last level, there was another jet that was seemingly...
Like yours, but not...
Maybe, and then you die from behind. It was very strange change.
Right.
But moving on from that, Roadrunner, at least in comparison with this list.
Okay.
Roadrunner didn't have music.
No.
It had kind of weird graphics for the coyote. Where he was
like all bow-legged kind of
bow-legged out.
Yeah.
And it incentivized you in many ways if you wanted to continue to play the game and not just get a high score, but just continue. Mm-hmm. It incentivized you to just hold the stick to the left, stick in one lane, and dodge a car occasionally.
Right.
Because if you did that in those levels, at least at first, the coyote couldn't even catch you.
Yeah, there was a thing on, though, in the next level...
Where he had like a rocket boot, and then he would just instantly catch you.
Yeah.
And it was kind of unclear what you were supposed to do about it.
That was dumb.
And the lack of music is, at this point in the 2600 life, is like, you could have put something.
Right.
And I think
all these have them, but yeah.
I know, but this one felt like one that needed it because it was kind of dry otherwise.
Right.
And I think my biggest issue with it was just that I don't know, I just didn't have a severe amount of fun with it either. No. Any game where it's like, oh, we're the wacky, Looney Tunes. Mm-hmm. End of level 1. No fanfare, nothing. Not even just moving you to the next level. Just feels like a spreadsheet.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a C. I thought that the game loop was decent, but there was a lot of like you need to be able to prevent the bad guy from getting you. What the deal was with him being able to just go and get you? It's like you don't have a turbo button, so what is the deal?
And on the chasm jumping level, he would just like slide
back
and forth.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
you couldn't get away.
Yeah, exactly. So
it fell flat for me.
Yeah.
Secret Quest. I don't really get the title.
Well, you're trying to,
I guess, uncover codes.
Yeah.
But it's not like, I don't know. It's not a bad thing. It's just at no point in it was I really connecting what the secret was.
Well, you did have to go into a certain level to figure out what it was.
Right, yeah. And I get that, but that's, it's not like, I'm putting in an A still, so it's not like it stopped me from enjoying it. It's just kind of a weird title to me. But, Secret Quest. Saving saving your space stations from aliens. Whoa, crazy. The aliens are weird, properly so, and they add more every level, it would seem. Having to find that and then go and enter the code, I don't know, there was a connection there that really clicked of like, I want to complete this.
Yeah, that's, for me, it's an S tier for me. I thought that it was really well done in that, it was after learning kind of exactly what I was trying to do, it was a lot of fun. It reminds me of something kind of like when we've talked about going back to playing like the Sword Quest games. It's got a similar vibe to me in that you got multiple screens and you have a map that you can kind of memorize. You can map it out if you needed to. It gets a little chaotic because of your health bars going down, but and in some of the cases, it's like we were talking about, do you avoid the monsters or do you kill them? A lot of times the monsters do give you
there's risk reward.
Yeah, exactly. But I thought it was very interesting. Now, there is a point where you can put in your initials, which was kind of interesting. And there was also somebody in this chat mentioned the fact that there is a save game potential, I guess, or something.
I was unclear if they were talking, because I know Fatal Run definitely had
that, to be honest, that gets a huge amount of points for that. That is really cool about that.
But yeah, so I put Sentinel to the back just because we're not going to be able to rate it. But next one, a game where you're going to space stations to save them from aliens progressively, and there are more aliens on every screen.
Yeah.
Sounds literally on paper the exact same, and this game kind of sucked.
As the same as what on the Secret Quest?
Quest? Yeah. It's literally the same bit. You're going to a variety of space stations to save them from aliens.
That's true.
The only difference was this one.
There's no codes or anything.
Yeah, this one was.
You're supposed to get artifacts and stuff.
Yeah,
equipment or something.
You just picked everything up in every room, and then occasionally you have a grenade that you waste because nothing ever seems to be in the range of a grenade for some reason.
The grenades you have to hit right on the whole point of a grenade is that it's the
spread.
Horseshoes, hand grenades. Whatever. The whole idea of being able to hit like most things on the screen, not really a thing.
Xenophobe had enemies that seemingly would never die for no reason that was really
there was also like the bowling ball guys.
That's what I'm saying. That's the ones. They would never die no matter how many times you hit them. But those guys were very hard to tell between them and the eggs, which you could kill before they spawned a new alien. Then they were I don't even know how to describe them, bullfrog cobra guys who would shoot at you, then leap, eat you for a minute, suck like half your health, and then there would be another one that would spawn on top of you. Yeah. And you could jump over them, but it just felt difficult in a way that's not fun.
Right.
It felt difficult in a way that, this isn't about a learning curve. This is about me having to explicitly know what I'm doing perfectly. Mm-hmm. And even then, it probably isn't going to work.
Right.
I just didn't really have a lot of fun with it. I thought the graphics were okay. You have a little finger gun that seems, you have a shirt that points out into a gun, seemingly. You're also kind of a rotund guy with a big nose.
And then, the jumping animation was really kind of...
You would just all over the place.
Yourself,
that they should have made some sort of Olympics game.
Yeah, there you go with that guy jumping.
But I couldn't get into it. I don't really want to go back to see how to get better at it.
Now, we do need to check out the arcade version, but
and that's the thing. A lot of these I can't say are explicitly the fault of the concept. Like I said, this is the same concept as Secret Quest. I just didn't have as much fun with it.
I'm gonna go with the C. I don't think that it's as bad, but it just feels like it missed the mark in some cases. I do like the complexity of it. It does have all the hardware. It did have the idea of being able to switch guns.
And which is very interesting.
Yeah.
But
you have ammo that you run out of.
But I couldn't tell where the ammo was, no matter how many times we went to different
just
screens.
Run out.
Because it seemed like sometimes you would shoot twice, move to a screen, and suddenly you didn't have ammo anymore. And sometimes you would be shooting at one of those bowling balls for 45 minutes. And, unloading like hell onto this creature and just nothing. But you wouldn't run out of ammo. Right. It was sort of unclear. For the complexity of it, they just didn't then make it clear enough what was actually happening. to keep it together. Also, they're clearly trying to cop on Alien with this cover.
Yeah, a little bit.
And with a lot of the...
a little bit. It's like, a little bit. It's definitely cashing in on the Alien franchise, like look-alike thing. Oh, absolutely.
It's like, that's... I've been trying to hide it.
No, not even. I mean, that's very, Geiger style, art and stuff. So, Sentinel was one that we were tried, but the
it requires a light gun.
Yeah, so we have to try a different emulator or something that maybe
figure out
emulates
how
that.
to do it.
It'd be nice if we had like crosshairs that we can be able to see on screen. But
maybe kind of like Crossbow.
Yeah,
a game that should have had the light gun but didn't. But
exactly.
Who am I?
Yeah,
not game developer in 1980, whatever.
Yeah. That's our list. Definitely leave a comment below with your ranks. So definitely be interesting to see your thoughts because, some of these games, to be honest, I hadn't played any really of these games or very little.
I hadn't even heard of most of them.
Yeah, so I think Roadrunner maybe, but everything else, this was all new to me. So, I checked it out when setting them up to make sure they worked, but I hadn't played these. These were definitely after I had moved on to the computers. And so the 2600 was really kind of off my radar at that point. So, so it is interesting to see what they had done.
Where they were at with everything by the end of the cycle here.
Exactly.
Because that is the one thing, and this is one I want to see in the comments, mostly because I'm just very curious. What was the best year for the Atari 2600 in your guys' opinion?
No,
based on
this
at least
is just the Atari releases.
For the Atari releases, of course.
Exactly.
But what was it? Where did it reach its highest point? I'd say it's pretty hard for me to choose as we're looking back now.
Mm-hmm. And we don't have all of them listed.
No, but just thinking back, 1984 was pretty good with Solaris
in there. Yeah. Anytime we've had an S, we haven't had an S the whole on every time.
No.
Yeah.
But between that, Crystal Castles was pretty fun, and Sword Quest, Waterworld, where they kind of brought it back for me on the Sword Quest stuff. I don't know. It's just every year has had something to offer.
Yeah.
And I think the Atari 2600, as far as the Atari releases, was definitely a mixed bag. This, as a developer, Atari sure took a lot of shots and not all of them hit.
No. And, but, it is what it is. I look at some of these games and it's neat because I'm pretty sure a lot of these are, exclusives. MotoRodeo, Secret Quest, Fatal Run, Off the Wall. I believe those are all, and probably Radar Lock, those are probably all exclusives, which is kind of interesting to me because a lot of what the 2600 was really popular for were the arcade ports.
Yeah.
When you get back to like 1982 and 83, Atari in the arcade was going gangbusters. And so one of the bigger sellers for the system was all the arcade ports. And so at this point, arcades were they were way past, for the most part, what the 2600 could do.
Yeah.
And so it was like, we're not going to see some of these arcade games being ported. It's just no way. So it
Especially
is interesting.
Then the crash happens on top of that.
Well, the crash happened a
while ago, but I'm just saying, looking back on the totality of it, they were slowly being outpaced by their arcade counterparts to an extent where they just couldn't compete.
Right.
And then a crash happens, and they've still got to make something for the next few years.
But they had also moved on to, at this point, they'd already moved on to the 7800, and and it was like, so they were making games for that, and then they were making games for the 2600, and it was they were kind of competing with themselves in a way,
Yeah,
and it's kind of weird,
It's interesting because now when you look at like generations, like the PlayStation 1 versus the PlayStation 2, when games were coming out on both of those, there was definitely a better version, but it was like, people already have the PlayStation 1, so you can still play it here and get the general experience. Some games just came out on that, but it didn't feel quite so much like competition with yourself because it was a wider base when by that point in the consoles. Like people were just games were just everywhere at that point.
Sure.
You could have both systems very much more easily, and it's just, it really does feel like Atari shot themselves in the foot, but it's definitely a lesson seemingly that the industry, one of the few lessons the industry has ever actually learned is try not to compete with yourself so much.
Yep. So and it's just like we see it today as far as like, on some of the stuff with the PS4 and the PS5 thing, that was a whole other thing because it was like, all right, well, no one can actually get PS5s, so we'll just keep putting out games and doing the whole thing.
Yeah, doing on both.
And so it's definitely interesting compared to like the previous years and, with the different generations where it was a clear delineation.
That's the other thing, is the differences are very minimal now in a lot of ways.
Versus back then, if you look at PS1, PS2,
the
PS3,
jumps, every jump was like massive.
Paradigm shifts.
Yeah, I would even say between the 360 and the One and the PS3 and the PS4, huge shift.
Yeah.
And now I'm looking at games and they put up a screenshot of both, and it's like,
you're not going to tell.
Yeah.
You're not going to tell because it's like, oh, it's in 4K, which you're looking at a screenshot.
Yeah, so it's like, on top of everything, it's like,
yeah, I guess.
The one on the left, is that?
Yeah, start doing the Pepsi challenge with these things.
Yeah.
So anyway, guys, thanks for joining us.
This has been a crazy journey through the years. We've still got some more to go with a few things, but thanks for tagging along and telling us what you think of our opinions.
Yep. And most of them are different than other people. So
yeah, well, we have better opinions.
There you go.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
You tell me what you think. I'll fight you on these. My list is better than your list.
Okay, his address is sorry. Anyway, all right, guys. See you guys in the next adventure. Take care.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit the like button. If you'd like to see more of this kind of content, be sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. I post new videos all the time and I wouldn't want you to miss any. If you'd like to see more of this series, be sure to click up here. And if you'd like to see something else, be sure to click up here.